Imagine waking up one morning and finding that the sea is gone. No gentle sound of waves, no shimmer of blue stretching to the horizon. Just a vast, endless desert of cracked mud and salt crystals. That's the world we'd see if somehow all the oceans evaporated overnight. At first glance, it might sound like a bad dream, or maybe a blessing for people who live near the coast and hate humidity. But in reality, it would be one of the fastest and most devastating extinction events in Earth's history. Let's start with the question everyone would ask first. Where did the water go? To evaporate all the oceans in a single night, you'd need an amount of energy so enormous it's almost beyond imagination. The total volume of Earth's oceans is about 1.3 billion cubic kilometers. Heating all that to boiling point would take more energy than the sun emits in a few days. So whatever caused it, a supernova nearby, a runaway greenhouse event, or maybe an alien experiment gone wrong, would instantly turn the planet into chaos. When the oceans disappeared, the first effect would be heat. Ocean water acts like the planet's thermostat, absorbing sunlight during the day and releasing it at night. Without it, the continents would swing wildly between freezing nights and scorching days. Within hours, temperatures on land would soar above 60 degrees Celsius in many regions. Rivers, lakes, and even underground aquifers would start evaporating too, feeding the deadly cycle. Then comes the air. Roughly half of the oxygen we breathe is produced by microscopic ocean plants called phytoplankton. Without them, oxygen levels would start to fall within weeks. At first, we might not notice much, just a little shortness of breath while climbing stairs, but within a few years, the air would become thinner and harder to breathe. The sky, once blue, would turn pale and dusty. Meanwhile, the weather would go insane. Oceans are the engines of Earth's climate. They drive winds, carry moisture, and create rain. Without them, there would be no clouds, no storms, no rainbows, just endless dry air and windstorms sweeping over what used to be seabeds. Coastal cities would be buried in sand and salt. Crops would fail, and food chains would collapse almost instantly. And yet life is stubborn. In the first few weeks, we might still see some survivors. Fish flopping in isolated pools, whales stranded in deep trenches, seabirds wandering the dry coastlines, confused and starving. Human survivors would rush toward underground sources of water, wells, aquifers, or frozen glaciers in the poles, but even those would vanish fast, evaporating into the superheated air. The empty ocean basins themselves would become strange new continents, enormous shimmering plains of salt stretching for thousands of kilometers. The lowest places on Earth, like the Mariana Trench, would now be deep valleys filled with toxic gases released from the sea floor. Without the pressure of water above them, some parts of the crust might even crack, causing massive volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. Ironically, for a short while, the planet might look more beautiful than ever. From space, Earth would glow golden and white, deserts glistening under sunlight, salt mirages floating on the horizon. But beauty wouldn't last. The missing oceans would destroy the delicate balance that protects us from solar radiation. With no moisture to absorb heat, the atmosphere would thin and drift away faster. The greenhouse effect would collapse in some regions, turning nights bitterly cold. In others, heat would bake the land like an oven. Within a few decades, Earth would start to resemble Mars, red, dry, and silent. Only the toughest life forms, like bacteria buried deep underground, might survive. Humanity, if still around, would be forced to move underground or into orbit, looking down at the planet that once sparkled with blue. But maybe, just maybe, some of the vaporized water would escape into space, form ice crystals, and one day fall back as a frozen comet. Billions of years from now, it might return to Earth, or to whatever planet comes next, and start the oceans all over again. Because that's what the universe does. It erases and rebuilds over and over, without ever stopping to explain why. So if all the oceans evaporated overnight, the last thing we'd see before the end would be the reflection of the sun, shining on a dry, glittering world, where once there was life and waves and the deep blue heart of our planet.